Scripts are an invaluable tool for Jamf Pro administrators when managing Macs, enabling the automation and repetition of tasks without manual assistance. Scripts can also be used to extend and augment the functionality of Jamf Pro, with things like packages, policies, and the Jamf Pro API. With all this power and possibility that scripting brings to an administrator, it can be daunting for a beginner to start experimenting with scripting. Let's break down what makes up a script and try writing our own. This is Jeremy. Welcome to Scripting in Jamf Pro. At their core, scripts are a collection of one or more commands designed to run in a specific order. If you've run a command in the Terminal app in macOS, you've taken your first step toward scripting. That exact command you manually typed into Terminal can be written into a script file and then reused over and over again by running the script. We can even deploy a script to an entire fleet of computers using Jamf Pro. The true power of scripting lies in this automation and repetition, especially at scale. If I need to run a series of commands on all the computers I have in Jamf Pro, it would take me hours or days to physically go to each computer and type in the commands. If I put all these commands into a script and upload it to Jamf Pro, I can instantly deploy them to every computer with the touch of a button. Say I've been tasked with creating an easy way to direct new members of my IT team to training resources for Jamf Pro. While I could deploy a bookmark or a PDF file, I think this would be a good time to practice scripting. First, let's identify the commands we want to run. For this script, I'd like to open a web browser to the Jamf Online Training Catalog and perhaps display a message to the users letting them know about the catalog. It's always a good idea to test the individual commands in a script before combining them, so let's head to the Terminal app for some practice. I'm opening Terminal and typing open to call the open binary, followed by the URL for the training catalog. If I press return to run the command, a web browser opens to that URL. Great! We could further adjust this command by adding the -a flag to specify an application, such as open-a firefox.app, followed by the URL, but the open binary is able to recognize a URL and will simply use the default web browser if no app is specified. Next, let's display a message to our users. While there are several methods for achieving this with various binaries, we can use the Jamf binary to display a simple dialog with a message. I'm not too sure of what syntax I need, so let's check out the help page. Type Jamf help and press return to access the manual page. From the list, I can see the display message command is what I'll need for this project. I'm typing Jamf help display message to access the specific help page for this command. I can see the syntax recommended here is Jamf display message -message followed by the contents of the message. Let's test it out. Jamf binary commands need to be run as the root user, so I'm typing sudo jamf display message -message and in single quotes, use the training catalog to expand your Jamf Pro knowledge. The single quotes around the message are important here in order for the spaces and exclamation points to be read properly. If I run this command and authenticate to run as root, our dialog box appears. Perfect! Both our commands work and now we can combine these into a script and deploy it to our computers. Let's move to Jamf Pro. Navigate to Settings, Computer Management, and Scripts. Click New to create a new script. In the General tab, we can provide a display name, assign a category, and enter additional information about the script for others who may use it in the future. I'm entering a name, Open Training Catalog, and adding the script to the Help Tools category. Next, let's navigate to the Script tab to compose our script. For our first line, we need to add something to tell macOS what binary it should use to read our script. This is called the command line interpreter and is written by adding a shebang, or a £sign and exclamation point, followed by the path to the command line interpreter, also called a shell. There are a variety of shells available in macOS that handle commands or syntax differently from one another, but for most simple scripts, using /bin/sh to tell macOS to use the default system shell will work just fine. You may also see /bin/bash or /bin/zsh as the interpreter in scripts online. Bash was the default login shell through macOS Catalina when it changed to Z Shell. With our first line complete, we can move on to the contents of the script. Let's write out the open command we tested previously. Open https://trainingcatalog.jamf.com. Press return twice to add a blank line, and then we can follow up with the display message command. Jamf, display message, -message, and in single quotes, use the training catalog to expand your Jamf Pro knowledge. Note that we don't need to add sudo here to authenticate as the root user. Scripts deployed from Jamf Pro are automatically run as the root user. As written, this is a functional script. However, we can add a few items for practice. Thinking ahead to how this script will function on a user's computer, if the open and display message commands run right after each other, it might be a little disorienting for the user to have the browser window and message dialog appear all at once. Let's add a sleep command between the two to tell macOS to pause for a bit before running the second command. Add another couple line breaks after the open command and type sleep 3. The sleep command simply tells macOS to, well, sleep or pause script execution for the specified amount of time in seconds. 3 seconds here should let the browser window fully open and the website load before our message appears. Finally, let's add some comments to our script. Commenting your script is an excellent habit to build as you start your scripting journey, providing context or explanations for commands in your script to users who might view them in the future. Comments will help you as well. If you write a script without comments and return to it much later, you might have forgotten what a particular variable or section of code was intended to do. To add a comment, all we need to do is add a # to the start of a line and type our comment. We can add as many lines of these in a row or throughout the script as we need. When processing the script, the shell will simply skip over every line it sees that starts with a # and move on in search of a command to run. I'm adding a blank line above each of our commands and adding a # to the start of each line. Comments don't need to be overly complicated. A simple sentence explaining what the following code does will suffice. I'm adding open the Jamf Online Training Catalog in the default web browser, wait 3 seconds, and display a message to the user. Click Save and our script is now complete. Let's set this up in a policy, make it available in self-service, and test it out for ourselves. Navigate to Computers and Policies and create a new policy. I'm adding a display name, assigning a category, and choosing an execution frequency of ongoing. Remember that a trigger is not needed for self-service policies, since the user clicking the policy in self-service serves as the trigger. Select the scripts payload from the list on the left, click Configure, then add the script we just created with the button to the right of it. The payload contents update with additional options for this script. Scripts can be deployed with a priority, which tells targeted computers to run this script either before or after other payloads that may be present. We can also add parameters here, which are values we can set that correspond to variables used in the script. While we won't cover parameters in this introductory video, if you're curious to learn more, check out the links in the resources for information. Next, I'm navigating to the Self-Service tab and selecting the checkbox to make this policy available in self-service. Finally, let's move to the Scope tab and add our test computer to the scope. Click Add, locate a test computer, and add it to the scope with the button to the right of it. Click Done to review the scope, and if everything looks good, click Save in the bottom right to deploy the policy. Let's test this out. Moving on to my test computer, I'm opening the Self-Service app and selecting the Jamf Training Resources policy. The policy runs and we get to see our code in action. Safari, our default web browser, opens to the Jamf Online Training Catalog, and after a moment, our message to the user appears. Congratulations on writing and deploying your first script. Although it's a daunting skill to learn, scripts can be as simple as the one we wrote today. It's important to continually practice and build up your confidence with scripting by using it for small, repetitive tasks in your environment. There are a wide array of resources to help you along your journey, and while we encourage you to seek those out and continue learning, be cautious when running scripts from an unknown source. Always test scripts thoroughly in a test environment before deploying to your production environment. And if possible, only use scripts from a trusted source. Thank you for joining us and trying out scripting with Jamf Pro. We'll see you again soon.